I love sports.
Sports.
This is the Sports Page with Mitchell Williams on 97.3 and 99.3 SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Challenged sometimes, right? And it was time, to kind of put that line in the sand a little bit and just challenge them. Not that we don't believe in them, we do. That's why we challenge them. So very, very proud of the response, and we still have ways to go. We still have more that we need to do as a team, as a unit, to continue to grow and get back to playing our best baseball again. But today was definitely a good step in that right direction.
Coach Christian Ostrander, as the Southern Miss Golden Eagles rank as high as 8 in the D1 baseball poll in this country, talking after his team's 13-4 win over Appalachian State, winning 2 of 3 at home. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Sports Page. Hope you and yours are well. We are into Holy Week. Yeah, Palm Sunday was on Sunday, and now we are in the thrust of Holy Week. We pray that you and your family will have an awesome and incredible, wonderful time of this redeeming week that only comes once a year. For all of our listeners on 97.3 and 99.3, thank you for listening to us. To all those who are listening to us on SuperTalk Hattiesburg.com and SuperTalk Laurel.com, thank you. We got a number of things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk with our good friend Sean Wansley in a second, and then we're going to talk some Pearl River stuff, and then we're going to talk Easter. How about that? So we won't delay it any. We're going to talk to our good friend Sean Wansley, the Sports Information Director at Jones College. Hello, Sean. How are you doing?
Hey, Mitch, I'm doing great tonight. How are you?
Man, I'm good, and my car, I guess my truck is still a little yellow, still a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But we're hanging through, brother. We're hanging through. Hey, look, now that the spring break stuff, all of that's done and what, tell us a little bit and give us an update on the Bobcats, especially on the Diamond.
Yeah, let's talk about baseball first. The latest poll today came out, and Jones is number 3 in the nation.
My goodness. Wow.
In fact, East Central is number 1, Pearl River is 2, and Jones is 3. So
has that ever happened, Sean? Can you ever remember that in that national poll?
I don't remember that happening offhand. The top 3 schools in the nation are all from Mississippi, and we've all played each other so far, and it seems like we win a game and they win a game. It's very close between all 3 teams. So the Bobcats having a great year in baseball. We're 25-8 overall, 8-2 in the conference. Swept Southwest and Holmes last week, and this week Jones on the baseball diamond goes to Gulf Coast tomorrow. That'll be a tough doubleheader down there, and we host Kahoma on Good Friday. So Coach Wes Thigpen's team doing a great job this year. You go to softball, it's kind of the same thing. Our team is number 6 in the nation, 30-7 overall, 9-3 in the conference. We split at Southwest and swept Holmes last week. But the national rankings, Pearl River is 1, Colin is 3, Jones is 6, LSU Eunice, who is in the region, they're number 7. And then you've got Itawamba at 14, Hines at 17, Southwest at 19, Northwest at 20, and Northeast at 21. It's like
that's crazy. Wow.
That's unreal. It's like half the league, half the regions in the top 21 there. So that's going to be extremely competitive. We get it into April, this month of April coming up for baseball and softball, and you play that month and the regular season's over and you go into postseason. That's going to be very, very challenging for everyone. As far as softball, we host Gulf Coast tomorrow in a 4 p.m. doubleheader, and we go to Kahoma on Friday. So baseball and softball both doing great at Jones this spring.
Y'all are listening to Sean Wansley, Sports Information Director at Jones College, and we're talking baseball, softball, nationally ranked programs in Ellisville. And as we kind of go through the stretch and head toward May and June, and I would imagine, so how does that, let's just say both teams are successful. What does postseason play look in terms of who hosts, or what is it, the North, South? What's that look like?
Yes, the last couple of years, they change it up every few years.
Right.
Teams. I think this year we're going to have, the top 8 teams play 2 4-team regionals. And then on the softball front, I know the last couple of years you play the 2 4-team regionals, and then you have a winner-take-all, one-game playoff between the two champions for the region championship. And on baseball, you do 2 4-team regionals, and then those 2 champions play a best 2 out of 3 to be the official Region 23 champions. So you're going to have some very, very competitive postseason ball in May just for baseball and softball just to get 2 nationals.
My goodness. Wow. So you got baseball and softball, and now basketball is complete, even though yet another historic year for Coach Mealer.
Right.
So what else you got going on campus?
Yeah, tennis, very, very big. Coach Brooks Buffington's both Bobcat teams last week, they won at Colin on Friday, and that clinched conference championship.
There he go.
He does it again. It's just automatic. And the Bobcat women, they're number 7 in the nation. They're 13-0 overall. They won over Coastal Alabama South today. We hosted them. It's a very strong team. Our men are number 12 in the nation. They are 14-1 overall, 8-0 in the conference. They lost a 5-4 match to Coastal South today, I believe they were ranked like number 11 in the nation. But tomorrow, our teams go to Itawamba. Hopefully we can win those matches and in conference play undefeated. Scheduled to play on Saturday against Wallace State Huntsville from Alabama. Supposed to play them in Meridian, but we have to see with the weather situation there. But by winning the conference, both teams will be hosting the Region 23 tournament. Our women will host April the 9th through the 11th. Our men, April 16th through 18th. So, once again, more championships for Coach Buffington. Just an amazing streak he's put together. And our women, going into tomorrow, we have not lost a conference match since, 2019. It's just
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, just a completely unbelievable streak. He just dominates every year. So they're doing great. Golf played today. They were in Decatur, Alabama for the first round of the Central Alabama tournament. That'll finish up tomorrow. Then Coach Bob Harrington's team will get ready for their conference championship April the 13th and 14th in Brookhaven. So we got baseball, softball, tennis, and golf going on right now. And we start official spring football practice tomorrow at Bobcat Stadium, Simcooley Field. Coach Laurel Pollard will have 30-plus guys out for spring practice, so that should be a lot of fun as well.
My goodness, wow. Tell you, the spring always brings out all this activity on campus in Ellisville at Jones College, and then it's no different this year. Anything else you want to add, Sean?
Just another thing, our annual Jones College Alumni Association golf tournament will be held on April the 17th, I believe, at Laurel Country Club. And that particular week, or that April 17, 18, that's a Friday, Saturday, we will be having our reunion, our 10th reunion of the 2016 National Championship baseball team.
My goodness. Okay.
Yeah, that's hard to believe. That was 10 years ago. The guys went up to Enid, Oklahoma, and won the national championship. So we're going to be having a 10-year reunion, April the 17th and 18th. I think the guys are going to play some golf on that Friday, and then Saturday will be recognized at our baseball game that afternoon. So that should be a fun thing coming up for Bobcat Athletics right there.
So, Sean, tell everybody how they can keep up with those Bobcats and then how they can follow them as they get ready to go down the stretch in the month of April.
That's right. jcbobcats.com is our main site. You can go there for up-to-date results. Just check the schedules of each sport and see what's happening. Game stories, photos, recaps, box scores, anything you need to know about Jones on the jcbobcats.com. You can also go to Facebook, X, YouTube, and Instagram and search Jones College Athletics and find out the latest on Bobcat sports.
All right, Sean, thank you so much, man. I hope you have an awesome week. Let's catch up soon. Thank you.
All right, Mitch, I appreciate it.
Sean Wansley, Sports Information Director at Jones College, giving us an update as to what was going on. Ooh, my goodness gracious, wow. You know, our community colleges and their environments, they always produce a lot of not only activity but champions and opportunities. And we'll talk a little bit about that when we talk to Coach Henrik Matson. Hopefully we can try to catch up with him at Pearl River. They're having a really good season down there. The sports page continues here on Super Talk, Mississippi, in just a moment.
This is the Sports Page with Mitchell Williams on 97.3 and 99.3 Super Talk, Mississippi.
Hey, welcome back to Super Talk, Mississippi. Yeah, of course, we're doing some live radio, and oftentimes during live radio, we don't get guests doing live radio at the time we want to get them, and so it is what it is, and we'll try to get them next time. But in the meantime, we want to give you some details of some things. Y'all heard about this case between the NCAA and Ole Miss, and the NCAA lost when it tried to deny Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback from Ole Miss, one more year playing football, right? So what happens? The NCAA, they go back and they try to appeal, and, well, the Mississippi Supreme Court denied the NCAA's petition to overturn an earlier lower court ruling allowing Trinidad to play in 2026. The NCAA argued that the Michigan native, who spent 4 years at Ferris State and 1 season at Ole Miss, had used up his 5 years of eligibility to play 4 years. He's now a Heisman Trophy candidate, and he argued that he didn't see action in his first 2 years at Ferris State. Yeah, and that's kind of crazy, too. You know, you think about it. He was so good to put Ole Miss in the football championship series, but he didn't play the first 2 years at Ferris State. Oh, man, ain't nothing like coaches. You develop. And he had a severe upper respiratory issue. That was one of the reasons. And he came back on the field, of course, and he'll be the starting quarterback when Ole Miss takes on Louisville in Nashville in 2026. Okay. Of course. Southern Miss baseball, we heard from Coach Christian Ostrander that they won 2 of 3 from Appalachian State. The Golden Eagles 21-7, 5-4 in league play, 4-way tie for third place. The Eagles will travel to Old Dominion beginning on Thursday. Ole Miss baseball, well, they got swept. Y'all know that. They lost all 4 games they played this past week. And Ole Miss is tied with Tennessee for 13th in the SEC. Mississippi State beat Southern Miss in a midweek game. They beat our boys 12-0, and then they went to Ole Miss and swept them. They're 24-4, 7-2 in league play, tied with Texas and Georgia for first place in the SEC. And, man, they're rolling. And they are one of the premier baseball teams in the country. All right. So also wanted to send our prayers out to the family of Ole Miss Athletic Director Warner Alford. He passed away last week. Coach Alford was an offensive guard and co-captain on the 1960 Rebel football team. He's a native of Macomb. A number of people from Macomb listen to us. And, you know, and if you ever met him, you know, he had a big, deep voice and just a really kind man. And was a longtime athletic director at Ole Miss. And our prayers go out to him and his family. Coach Alford was a staple for college athletics here for a long, long, long time. I'm still kind of like digging out on what all of this means as it relates to baseball and the community colleges. If you didn't hear what Sean said last segment, that East Central is the number one community college baseball team in America, all right? So Pearl River is ranked second in America, and Jones is number 3 in America. I can't remember a time where it was 1, 2, and 3, East Central, Pearl River, and Jones, all 1, 2, and 3. Didn't matter who was 1, 2, or 3, but that they were lined up like that. That lets you know. And next week, y'all, we'll have a long conversation with Dale McKee, a veteran broadcaster, when Mississippi turned from a football state to a baseball state. And I just think a lot of it has to do with our youth programs and our high school programs, but a lot of our community college programs, because if you look at these rosters, they're filled with community college folks. Well, if you want to talk about community college folks, the new head football coach at Southern Mississippi, Blake Anderson, when you have to replace 80 people on your football team, and you know Mississippi has a tradition of having really great football players in the community colleges, he did that and around the country and then went into the portal. And so now it's the second week of spring football. And he talked to the reporters just on this past weekend about really the process and the progress of his football team. And here's Coach Anderson, his comments about where he thinks his program stands after a couple of weeks of workouts. Here's Coach A.
How do you think this team's going to respond to discipline and just, trying to, make the right decisions, things like that?
Well, I hope they respond well. We had a little breakdown in the middle of practice today and needed a spanking, and they got one. And I was encouraged that they responded to it the right way. I wish it hadn't happened, but it's going to. You got this many new guys. But they've done a really good job of trying to accept what we're trying to do. The guys are here before them, and this one was already instilled. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're just trying to make sure that we button it down as best we can. And my personality's got to shine through, and so we talk a lot about this one. So many new guys, as you mentioned, they're learning for the first time. I feel like they've done a good job to this point. We've had very few issues, and we're getting good effort and attention from these guys. But today was a good teaching opportunity. A couple guys lost their cool, and we didn't respond real well. Lose a game that way in the fall if we don't fix it. So it gave me a chance to teach. So hopefully just keep going together. That's the goal, man. Just keep coming together as a team, as one family, one organization, one unit. And it's going to take time to get that done.
When something like that happens, what is the response you look for?
How does anybody respond when they get their, butt chewed? How does a staff member? How do I respond like that? It takes a lot of discipline to swallow your pride right there and hear the message, and then go do something about it. They actually did respond really well. A couple guys swole up, but they came back out their next rack and actually calmed down, less chatter, and just focus on their job, and that's what I was looking for. I wish the incident hadn't happened, right? But you're going to have a fight in practice. You're going to have a play that goes too long. And, coach it hard and then see how they respond. And today, the immediate response wasn't good, but after after a spanking right there, they all handled it really, really well. So I think there's both positive and negative that we can learn from.
Off of that, can you kind of speak about your thoughts on player leadership, player-led teams versus coach-led teams, and kind of what's the strike a happy medium there?
Yeah, the teams that are going to be great are led inside the locker room. We can only do so much, but I think the challenge right now is so many guys are trying to find their place. They don't know if they're in a position yet to really be a leader. That kind of comes naturally, and it takes time. For right now, it's got to come from us, really, for the most part, with the exception of a handful of guys. It's got to come from the staff, especially the strength staff and Matt Shadid and his crew. It's got to be daily and consistent, so that as guys start, adding to their role or creating a role or really creating a platform for themselves, they're regurgitating what they've heard and what they've seen and how we've handled things over the course of months and a lot of days together. So I think that's a big challenge of today's landscape with so many guys changing. You don't have that fifth-year senior that's learned it for 5 years. We're having to do it really quickly. And I think it's going to be a big factor in winning and losing for every team in the country who can get that piece right. Because if we have to lead, we'll only be so good. If they can lead and lead well, to me, that's when you got a chance to be really good. That's when we won championships in the past. Those teams were led by the locker room. I mean, we just kept it out of trouble.
Seems a couple of explosive plays for the first couple of days.
Nice.
What have you kind of liked about what you've seen from the receivers so far? I know it's just a very small sample size, but just what you have in the room.
Don't make me be negative, man. I'll be honest with you. I've seen a couple sparks, but to be honest, I just say it's too early to tell. There's some juice, there's some twitch, there's some sparks, but we just have not. I have not seen a consistency yet first 4 days to get too excited about. So I love those dudes, and they're working hard, and I really do think the effort that they bring to what we're doing and how we're working is going to pay off. But we're so inconsistent right now, it's hard to be too excited about anything, really at any position this early in the process.
I was going to say, and kind of bouncing off of that, with all these new guys that you guys always mention and trying to gel, how does that kind of maybe differ your approach to coaching these guys and just kind of your approach to spring?
Yeah, I talked about this a little bit yesterday. There's a high premium right now on culture, coaching effort and attitude. We talk about having to have more energy, effort than anybody else. We've got to have endurance. We've got to be able to last longer than anybody else. And then we got to get the execution piece. We're very simple on offense and defense right now. We're trying to not bog them down with thinking and just let them go out and kind of show us what they're capable of. We'll ramp up the X's and O's later if we can. But if we can learn how to play hard and we can play hard longer than the opponent and just be disciplined, we got a chance to win every week. And so that's where all the focus is at right now.
Coach Blake Anderson talking about his football program, and y'all got the juice, and you see what Coach A, he is he coaches up, and he doesn't put up with a whole lot of stuff, and but he's a life giver, man. If you got him on your side, you got somebody who's a fighter, and if you know anything about his story, he's known how he's had to learn how to fight. He's had to learn how to fight when his world would crash. Yeah. Hey, y'all, the Big Spring Showcase is on April 18th. It's free of charge, right at 12 noon, I think, at the football field. So maybe you'll come by and see the 2026 Golden Eagles. When we come back, y'all, we're going to talk Easter. Oh, yeah, it's Holy Week. We're going to talk Easter. Pastor Dwayne's in the house, so we'll talk about that. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is the Sports Page with Mitchell Williams on 97.3 and 99.3 SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Hey, welcome back to SuperTalk, Mississippi. Y'all, we're so grateful to everybody who's listening to us. If you're in your car, or if you're in the gym, or if you're listening to us online, 97.3 or 99.3 on your quote-unquote radio dial. And for all of some of these former football players that are posted on some of our military bases that kind of told us that they listen. I don't know what type of hour it is. It might be 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. Hey, I'm glad y'all doing good. And no, I still don't remember your name when you're playing, but it's all good. When you come back home, let's just have coffee or something. Oh, my goodness. Hope everybody is doing good and getting ready to embrace what could be an incredible Easter weekend for you and yours, and it's Holy Week, and what a great time to evaluate and just kind of, take a step back and look at what's happening in your life and maybe refuel a little bit from the inside out. So y'all know that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. We see if we could get Pastor Dwayne Higginson, who is the senior pastor at Grace Temple Church, right off Richburg Road, 1131 Richburg Road. And we're approaching Easter. Y'all might see some of the things around the town, around Hattiesburg and all, that we have Easter service. Grace Temple will have at Oak Grove at the Performing Arts Center, which is right down literally a few feet from the SuperTalk studios at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. Hey, Pastor.
Good evening. Man, I'm so delighted to be here on the most important week on the Christian calendar.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, like, pastor, I guess as a pastor, you gotta, you've been around the world, you be preaching to people. But I would imagine every year when you start preparing, you see Holy Week. And what? Tell me a little bit about that. How do you approach that?
Well, I tell you, Easter is the one celebration that unites all of Christianity, no matter Catholic, Orthodox, Protestant, no matter what denomination, Protestantism you come from. We differ on the dates of even Christmas and different holidays.
Yeah.
But Easter unites us all because the thing that brings us all together is the resurrection, the promise of the death, the burial, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. That defines Christianity, and it brings us all together in one worldwide brotherhood. It's a beautiful thing.
Y'all, I got the chance to go to the Holy Land with Pastor and a number of dear brothers and sisters and some new folks that we met. And, Pastor, from the time I came out of there and, and going to the garden and we were right behind. We still have a picture that's in our album of you and Miss Rhonda walking up the hill, that brick road going toward Calvary. Mm-hmm. And it's just been different, and when I think about Easter because of going over there, you have taught over there, you have, connect those dots. I mean, in terms of, you've been where all this is happening. Of course, there's a lot of disruption over that way, but connect the dots to what you want to really talk about on Sunday mornings. I mean, in terms of, you've been there where it all happened, and then now trying to make people or give people a chance to relate to all what happened.
Well, traveling in the Holy Land actually makes everything real. And I got some good news. The tomb is still empty.
Yeah, yes, sir. It's still empty. It's still empty. It's empty.
But we walked
we
walked that hill to Calvary, and then of course we walked down the road that Jesus walked on Palm Sunday, and all the accolades, and then we were at the temple, and then we go to the garden tomb. We see where he was crucified, and then the model tomb there that very likely could have been the tomb of Jesus, and it is empty. And then you see the Sea of Galilee, and it's interesting, Mitchell. I was watching, just always kind of doing my research this Easter week, making it fresh. I'll find a good documentary or something, and I'll read some books and listen to some old sermons because I want to get in that flow. I want to awaken all that passion that's been in there all my life. And I was watching a documentary, and they were going to all those places in Jerusalem, and I was watching them. They were baptizing people in the Jordan where you and me and so many of us reaffirmed our baptism in the waters of the Jordan. And, man, it was just exciting to watch as they were walking through those places. I'm like, yeah, been there. It was pretty cool.
I tell you what, I know that, I like you, I think it's the most important week. Mm-hmm. But also, too, I think it's a big opportunity, too, for the church on Sunday morning, because sometimes we may not see someone. And then, Pastor, then also, too, there's so many families that'll come to church on Easter that have been just going through it. Mm-hmm. They're just looking for that one bright light of hope. Do you sense that? I mean, oftentimes when you...
Well, so when you come to church on Easter, there's two things. Christmas and Easter, the whole culture's thinking about Jesus. Even if they don't think about Jesus any other time, they're thinking about Jesus. And so it's a great opportunity for us to talk to people and just let them talk to us about what we believe. And then, of course, Easter, what does every mama want for Easter? They want their youngest to come to church with them. And you got girls and boys maybe living wild as a March hare, but on Easter, they're likely to come to church just because mama wants them to. Mm-hmm. And there's that opportunity, right, to speak hope, to speak life, to speak about possibilities to folks. And so Easter is just a wonderful, wonderful time. And here's what the statistics show. 87%, I think was the number I just read. 87% of people who are unchurched, who do not go to church, say that they would go to church if a friend would invite them to come with them to church. Now,
right.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. Y'all, did y'all hear that? What would happen if you asked somebody to church? No matter where it is. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's in the country or in the city. What would happen if you just ask them to church, man? Life change might be right around the corner. So, Pastor, you know what? I'm like, you've got, we had Palm Sunday on Sunday, and then we had a lot of life change. Y'all, we had a FCA retreat that we've had. It wasn't an FCA retreat when it started, and it ain't really counting now. But it's still at Grace Temple Church, 22 years called Quarterback Club. And then I can't remember if we've ever had the Sunday on Palm Sunday. And we had so much life change that happened on Palm Sunday. And for those of us that were there, I mean, it just gave us so much fuel going into this week. Yeah. Big time. I mean, so if you would, I mean, we got Sunday. Mm-hmm. Talk about a little bit the importance of the week, of the days going toward Easter. I mean, because, a lot of folks maybe just come to church on Sunday, but the days prior to that are pretty important. Yeah.
Yeah, we call it the Passion Week, and it's those times that we remember what it was like for Jesus. That week, everything got intense. I mean, Jesus, his whole ministry, he spent time saying, hey, it's not my time yet. Even to his mom, his mom said,
yes,
hey,
sir.
Step up at the wedding. He said, Mom, it's not my time. It's not my time. And then he'd heal somebody, and he'd say, hey, don't talk about it, or he'd tell somebody he was the Messiah. He told a woman at the well he was the Messiah, but don't share that. But then on that Palm Sunday, he said, now go give me a donkey. We're gonna do this thing. And he lived prophecy. I think it's the only prophecy Jesus lived out by choice. There's some 300 plus prophecies that came to pass in his life, but he chose this one. And he said, this day we're going to go in. And that all those accolades brought all that attention and all that adversity he'd faced, all of his ministry, those 3 years came down, and it was like a point, a stress point that week. So much happened. The adversity, the cleansing of the temple, the trials, all that's the 6 trials inside, and found innocent every time, and yet they still took his life on it. Well, he laid down his life. Yeah. Because he said that. He said, nobody can take my life. I'm going to lay it down.
Y'all listen to Pastor Dwayne Higginson, pastor of Grace Temple Church, 1131 Richburg Road. Easter will not be held there. At 10 a.m. we'll be at the Performing Arts Center at Oak Grove High School at 10 a.m. Y'all, and you want more, you can go to gracetemple.com or see the church information at Grace Temple Ministries on Facebook. You previewed some things a little bit in terms of who Jesus was when you start talking about respect and the relationships. And we got 2 minutes before we go to break. But Pastor, talk a little bit about how Jesus, though they treated him a particular way, he still had respect for people. Because, when you talk about relationships all the time, but he still respected people and met them where they were.
So foundationally, I lifted a possible truth on Sunday. I said, I believe that when he tells us to love everybody, love our enemies, love all those that are around us, our neighbors, I believe one way to operationalize that is to say, give basic human dignity and respect to everybody that you meet, the same respect. And we see Jesus, he showed respect to everybody. I mean, the woman caught in adultery, he lifted her up, respected her. The woman at the well, nobody would talk to her. Jesus validated her and said, hey, you're a Samaritan, but you're still a human being. You're still with me. Zacchaeus brought him down out of the tree, the Roman centurion. You just go on and on. And so Jesus gave everybody the same respect and human dignity. And that didn't change when he was going to the cross. If you look at how he treated the those who were putting him on trial, if you look at how, good heavens, he healed the guy that Peter cut his ear off, that was coming to arrest him. He healed the guy. Right. And then when the last thing he said on the cross, was, Father, forgive them because they don't understand. They don't understand what they're doing, right? They know not what they do. That's respect, right? That's grace and unmerited favor towards everybody, and he did it from start to finish, right before he said it's finished. He said, Father, forgive them because they don't know what to do.
You know, when you were talking about that, I started thinking about Pontius Pilate, and is that, it is what you say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when he would say that, he's sitting up, he could have gone off. I might have gone off, but he didn't, and he just, y'all, we're going to continue our conversation. We'll come back. It's not going to, we don't have a longer session as this session is, but we're going to ask Pastor about brokenness. We're going to ask you, you may be coming to heading toward this week, and you might have had some things happen in your family, some things that are not so good, or some things happening in your environment. And Easter might not be, just another Sunday. It might be but maybe this Sunday might be something else. We'll talk about that, how you might want to see this week, even though you might be going through something. How about that? Sports Page, we continue in just a moment with Pastor Wayne. Come on back.
This is The Sports Page with Mitchell Williams on 97.3 and 99.3 SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Welcome back to SuperTalk, Mississippi. I want to invite you a couple of things, y'all. We have the Good Friday Breakfast of Champions. We've been on the phone all day talking to a number of our coaches and student athletes that are going to be champions of character. Swayze Bozeman, who is a linebacker for the New York Giants, a son of the Lord. From Florida, Mississippi, is just a good old country boy that went from Tri-County Academy to Colin Community College to the University of Southern Mississippi. Hurt every year, had a great pro day that made him all stand up and jump. And he was playing for the Kansas City Chiefs his first rookie year. Now he is with the New York Giants. He'll be here with Macy and Swayze Bozeman Jr. They'll be here on Good Friday morning. And also, y'all, on May 4th at Bobby Myrick golf tournament, FCA golf tournament, and it will be at the Hattiesburg Country Club. All that information on Southeast MSFCA.org, Southeast MSFCA.org, y'all. Just have so much gratitude of just being in the moment and just seeing some response from what's coming over these airwaves. We hear you, brother. Pastor, y'all, we're talking to Pastor Dwayne Higginson, who is the senior pastor of Grace Temple Church, Grace Temple Ministries, 1131 Richburg Road. We have Easter right at the Oak Grove Performing Arts Center at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. Everybody's invited. Mm-hmm. You invited. Y'all come on. And it don't matter what you're kind of going through. And Pastor, we're talking about that a little bit. Folks sometimes, irregardless if it's Easter, have just gone through seasons. Mm-hmm. If you're in that number and you're approaching Easter week and you're just kind of bleeding and you're just kind of going through, pastorally, what would you want them to know?
Well, let's talk about why we're doing it at the Performing Arts Center, because we're a church. We have two services on Sunday morning, and it's almost like you have two churches, right? You have people that, unless you cross over the services, you don't really know each other. But the reason we do on Easter, we get that one big day so we can all be together and you can feel that momentum, the presence. The Bible says that God abides, he inhabits the praises of his people.
Yeah.
Wherever two or three are gathered, the presence of God is there. Yeah. And so the reason that's so important is because in isolation, we can meet the Father in some ways, but there's nothing like coming together to worship and celebrate and celebrate hope together. And if you're broken, if you're out there struggling, sometimes you can't even say the name of Jesus. I mean, I've been so broken before sometimes. I couldn't even pray, man. But people could pray for me and believe for me.
Yes, sir.
And what can happen is if you can come to the house of the Lord, the first thought is, I don't want to be around those people talking about good things when I'm hurting like this. But the truth is, if you can come together with people who are lifting up the Lord and is celebrating hope, and the presence of God falls, something can happen in your life if you just show up, man. Just show up. The current, the flow of the worship can carry you like the current on a river. carry you right into the presence of God. Even if you can't swim yourself, it'll take you there. And so that's why it's so important to come together and hear that message of hope, man. There's so much negative in the world, and there's so many people out there. You'll say, man, I'm hurting, and they'll say, yeah, man, and you look bad too, and you ain't got no hope. But you need somebody when you struggle. You need somebody to look at you and say, man, you're going to be all right.
You're going to be all
You're
right.
going to make it. We got you.
Yeah.
We in this together, man. Come on. And that's what's so important about coming together on Easter, is to hear that message of hope. And maybe you start believing again just a little bit.
Y'all, Sunday morning, it's still Sunday morning. It's still Sunday morning. Lord, ever give you a chance just to breathe to see Sunday morning, there's always a place and a seat somewhere in God's house just for you. And, you know, Pastor, I know for all the years that you've been pastoring and leading and shepherding and all, and you see people, you know, kind of going through. And I appreciate what you just said, but also I'm excited about that one person that's going to come to a church, and I pray that it may be around us and it may be around the world, that's going to come to church on Sunday, and they're going to find a hope.
Oh, yeah, man. You know, I was thinking about the thief on the cross. And, of course, Sunday I talked about respect, and then we talked about how Jesus gave respect to so many people, and he raised up people across racial lines and, sex and gender lines and women. And I mean, he's just so powerful how he gave respect in every way. And then when it came to the end, this is where the message turns, right? Because two thieves on the cross on either side of Jesus. One felt so much shame on himself that he ridiculed Jesus, and he was trying to say, don't look at me, look at him. And here's this guy that said he was religious and here can't help nobody. But the other guy on the other side of the cross said, you know what? This guy don't deserve it. And he showed respect to Jesus for who he was as a Messiah. And the best way he could, he just said, hey, man, remember me when you come in your kingdom. And that guy's eternity was changed in a moment. And it don't matter where you've been, what you've done. This guy had gotten the death penalty for whatever he had done.
Yeah.
It don't matter where you've been, what you've done. There's hope. If you can just reach out to the Lord, reach out and take his hand, man. He can turn your whole life around.
Remember me. Remember me. Pastor, thank you. My goodness. Y'all, from all of us to all of you, we hope to talk to you same time, same place next week. And y'all, I pray that not only just on Sunday that you build some momentum and take that step back in the mirror and look at yourself and just say, hey, look, where am I at? And then by the time you get to Sunday, know that joy is going to be received once you get in that door.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. We'll talk to y'all same time, same place. Take care, everybody. God bless. Thank you, Pastor.
Good night.